What's going on, everyone? My name is Blake, representing the Duelist Club, and I'm going to be showing you Cosmos. Uh, I have, I want to apologize. I was going to make the Tenye profile today, but I don't know. I've been going around and thinking about it, and I think it might need a little bit of work. It's not like it's a bad version I've made. It's just I think it needs a little bit more work to it. But I want to thank the commenters who helped me out with this deck, because you guys have helped me out so much through this. So thank you for that. But I'm going to be showing you something else, which is Cosmos. I have not shown this in a long time. I think it's been a year since I've last done anything about this deck, and I don't know, I just decided that this is something that I love. I love this deck. It's very fun. It's very unique in what it can do, and I'm gonna go through the guidelines of what it can do and how you can do different things with it. There's gonna be I don't know if it's gonna be combo related or not, but I'm going to try and make it as involved as possible. So let's just go ahead and begin with our main deck. I don't have a side deck yet for this, but it's not too complicated right now. Like, there's nothing like anything that really shouldn't be in there. So the first card is, I run 3 copies of Tin Can. Tin Can is your go-to card. So whenever this card is on the field, you can banish this card and special summon 1 Cosmo monster that is level 2 or higher. Now, that sounds all good and dandy. All the low-leveled Cosmo monsters have that. So it's like 1 to 5, which is all Cosmo monsters like level 1 to 5 have that same effect going on with it. This one is, Tin Can is really good, mostly because of its secondary effect, where you can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Cosmo monsters or Cosmo cards with different names, and then shuffle them, and then display them out on the field, and then your opponent randomly chooses one, which the one that is chosen adds to your hand. What's good about this is you get a free Cosmo monster out on the field, a free Cosmo monster in your hand. Also, 2 are sent to the graveyard, or if you had if you tried going for Cosmo Town, then you got that in your hand, then 2 Cosmo monsters would have went to the graveyard. It sucks when you use this effect to search Cosmo Town and you don't get it all the time, because it's like you have a chance of getting it, but sometimes it just doesn't work out all the way. But this card is really good just for your searching and paying 500 life points. This deck is a lot about paying life points to summon monsters and getting out your big monsters. So, to be honest, life points doesn't even matter to you at a point. You know, just don't even, it's not even questionable about this deck. So I run the 3 Cosmo Tin Can. It just works really well in the deck, and that's probably the only low-leveled monster I really run, actually. That's the only one I run. I would have run Strawman, but I don't know. I took him out just this is a really tight version. And then I also run 3 Slip Rider. You can run this at 2 if you feel like it's not your style. I run 3 because I like because there's a lot of decks nowadays that pop back row, and also there's a lot of things that can hurt you. So say that there can only be 1 was out on the field, you know, that really does hurt you a little bit. It doesn't hurt you too much because what you run is all psychics and machines. So it just, you know, you want to get rid of your opponent's back row as quick as possible. So it works as well as anything else. Big Cosmo monsters like this from 5 to I think 10, 5 to 10, level 5 to 10, whenever they're destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish them and special summon 1 Cosmo monster with one level lower than this one, lower than the one that was banished. So for this one, if this card was sent to the graveyard by a card effect or battle, then you can special summon one Cosmo monster level 4 or lower. So that's an easy access way to get out your tin can, which is really good as well, especially if it's on your opponent's side, on your opponent's turn. So say it's like on the end phase of your opponent's turn, special summon tin can with by banishing Slip Rider, and then during their end phase, you can pay 500 life points to target 3 and then add 1 to your hand, and then you can just keep recycling that. You know, it's just really good for that reason. Because this is your like weakest Cosmo card in the deck, so just let you guys know that it's good, but it's always one of those ones that you kind of want to get rid of pretty quickly, because you know there's a lot of things that your opponent can get around it. Also, hopefully you guys enjoy the gold versions of these. I run 3 copies of Dark Destroyer. I know people don't like the gold version, but I only own the gold version, so I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't mind gold versions because they look really cool either way. It's still secret, you know, still works. Cosmo Dark Destroyer does. Dark Destroyer has a different effect from if they're, I think it's level 6 to up. Level 6 to up, they all have a special. They have a additional effect where opponents cannot target your cards. So Dark Destroyer cannot be targeted, which means Slip Rider can be targeted. So that's kind of bad, I guess. It's like I said, Slip Rider is not the best one to have, but back row is definitely something you need to get rid of as quick as possible, especially with this deck. But having Dark Destroyer in the field really helps a lot. The only thing that really hurts you is if your opponent would like Storming or Mirror Force you or something like that, you know, something like that. When Dark Destroyer is summoned to the field, then you can pop a monster on the field. Pretty simple. Also, it has the same effect as every other Cosmo monster that has a higher level than 4, sorry. And that is whenever it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect or battled, then you can special summon one Cosmo monster that is level 7 or lower. Which again, it helps a lot. Also, you get your additional effect out, so you can special summon that Cosmo monster if that card would be destroyed, and activate its effect on summoning. So it's really cool. I run the one-offs. I run one Dark Lady. I'll go over these in a minute. One Forerunner, and then I also have one Dark Eclipser. So going over these, Dark Lady is almost like Tin Can, where if it would be, you can banish it to special summon a Cosmo monster. Also, it has an additional effect where you can pay 1,000 life points to negate a monster effect, which is honestly really good, except if you're dealing with burn deck, which I was going up against one day. I was going up against that yesterday with this deck, and I don't know, I won, but pretty easily, but it just sometimes it works a lot. It helps a lot, especially if your opponent is trying to get around something or trying to get out their big monsters with their effects, you know. For example, the new Orcrusts. Orcrusts are very, very popular right now, so this is very good card to have always. Whether it's in the graveyard or not, you know, if it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it out very easily, because there's plenty of ways to special summon them out. Forerunner gives you 1,000 life points. Also, during every standby phase. So don't forget that. If you forget it, then you kind of lost it. So sometimes people forget that this card can actually give you 1,000 life points. Just don't forget that. This card cannot be targeted, and whenever it's destroyed, you can special summon a level 6 or lower Cosmo monster. And then Dark Eclipser, this guy can, if you banish one Cosmo monster from your graveyard, then you can negate a trap, basically. Also, it cannot be targeted, and you can special summon a Cosmo monster that is level 8 or lower. So, all these are really good for it. Those are all the Cosmo monsters I run. So, everything that you just saw are all the ones I run. I don't run Tin Can, or I don't run, sorry, I run Tin Can, but I don't run Strawman or Farm Girl. I don't know. Like I said, this version is very tight, and also there's plenty of ways to get out Tin Can. It's really not too bad of an idea of a going. This is, by the way, a going first deck. So, and there's ways to go around it if you're going second as well. I also run the artifact engine, which I don't know why you wouldn't, because this is the best version to run off of. To Scythe, I don't run Moral Tech, just because I don't really see any value in it, and also I don't like. I never like having these cards in my hand. I like summoning them off of Sanctum, so it's much better. Even though, you know, Twin Twister exists, and this deck is really good because it sets a lot of cards on your side of the field, so you can later on use them for your Cosmo monsters. So this one just stops you and your opponent from special summoning from the extra deck, which in this deck you don't special summon at all from the extra deck. But yet it does have an extra deck, so really good. Now we're going on to the spells. I run 3 copies of Demise. Now remember that this, I think I covered this. This deck is going all on your opponent's turn. So all you have to do is have a Cosmo Tin Can out on the field, and then that's it. Like, you can use everything else on your opponent's turn. It works as well as any other. So it's like I said, it's a very, very different version of, it's a very different archetype than what you're used to. If you've never seen Cosmos at all in action, or if you've never even heard of them till now, they can work on your opponent's turn. So they don't really do anything on your turn. They mostly on your turn, it's more setup, which Demise is for. It's all for setup based cards. So if your opponent, if you were not to, say you weren't, you didn't have Cosmo Tin Can in your hand, then this card would hopefully get it out easily, just to have it. And battling, you can always activate this during your second main, so it's nothing to really worry about. And then also I run 3 pots of Duality. Duality, it's just a good searcher. Yeah, it helps you get into your Tin Can faster. And again, you don't special summon on your turn, you special summon on your opponent's turn, so it doesn't affect you in any sort of way. So those are just your searchers. And then probably one of my favorite cards in this deck, I love this card, is 3 Cosmo Town. Cosmo Town is my favorite card of this whole deck. I mean, it looks so nice. It's just so pretty in this, even if it's gold rare, it looks just, you can't tell me it doesn't look super cool like this. So Cosmo Town is your searcher, and it also allows you to draw. So you can pay the amount of life points that compared to like the level of that monster, and add it to your hand from the banished zone. I know that sounds a little bit confusing. So say that Cosmo Tin Can is in your banished zone, you can activate Cosmo Town and add Tin Can to your hand, but you have to pay 100 life points because it's a level 1 monster. So if you have Dark Destroyer in the Banished Zone, you want to add that to hand, you have to pay 800 life points because it is a level 8 monster. So it kind of makes sense. And this is, like I said, this is a you pay life points to get anywhere in this deck, and life points don't matter at all, really. Just use them. Normally, it gets you pretty far in the game, anyway. Also, Cosmo Town can target Cosmo monsters in your hand, which are like the big ones, I guess, normally. And it allows you to reveal however many Cosmo monsters in your hand, shuffle them into the deck, and draw that many cards. What's good about this is you don't really want a bunch of big Cosmo monsters in your hand. Not really. You more or less want them in your graveyard and have at least one Cosmo monster in your hand. So say you had like Cosmo Town in your hand at the time, and you have all big Cosmo monsters and nothing to do with it. So you have like 4 big Cosmo monsters. You can activate Cosmo Town to reveal all 4 of those Cosmo monsters, and then shuffle them into the deck, and then draw 4 cards. You know, it's one of those really good effects. Also, what I love about this card is the number one thing I really love about this card is if this card were to be destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can search one Cosmo card from your deck to your hand, which means you can get out Cosmo Town again. So Cosmo Town is something that can never really go away, and your opponent at one point is going to hate it. That was a really long discussion about how Cosmo Town works. Then I run 2 Ignition. Ignition is for your opponent only. Like, say your opponent, it's normally when you're going, it's a going second card. So if you want to pop a back row and also get out and make sure that you have ways to get your Scythe out, then this is definitely the card for you. I'm glad it's a quick effect too, because then if your opponent were to have, like, again, I know there can only be one. This deck doesn't get hurt by it, but if there's anything that kind of disrupts anything, you can activate Ignition and then pop that card and set 1. Then I run Terraforming. 1 Terraforming. I'm going off on the one-offs right now. There can only be 1 for 1. 1 for 1's really good in this deck. It allows you to get rid of a big monster and send it to the graveyard, and then special summon your tin can, which is really good. Emergency Teleport. This card is normally going to be used on your opponent's turn, normally by the end turn. So say that your opponent were to, or maybe your opponent's going to activate something, or maybe it is during your opponent's end turn or something like that. You can activate Emergency Teleport, and either you can banish Tin Can, or you can activate its effects by end turn, and then, you know, do the pay 500 life points to reveal and draw. So it's always good. And then I also run 1 Monster Reborn. Pretty simple, because you need your Tin Can, or you need your big monsters and your Tin Can. So going on to spells, I run 3 copies. If I can show them. 3 copies of Call the Haunted. Getting out your big Cosmo monsters from the graveyard. Really good for that reason. Three, back to the front. Puts all special summons 1 monster in defense position. Why is it so good? Because it still gets out your effects either way. It doesn't negate anything, and at least it special summons a Cosmo monster, and it activates. So you can get out Dark Destroyer from the graveyard and pop a monster on the field. Going on to the next one. 3 Sanctum. I need to show these a little bit better. 3 Sanctum. This helps you get out your Scythe. Also, if this card were to be destroyed by card effect, then you can destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. So, And then the last 2 cards I run are Oasis of the Dragon Soul. Now, I know you're thinking, why do I run this card? Where's a Trap Trick? Where's that at? I like Trap Trick. I don't have it at all, actually. I don't even own Trap Trick right now. Even though it got a reprint pretty recently. But I don't run it because you don't run too many normal traps, and I think it only works with normal traps. So the only thing that you could really use it on is your Back to the Front and Sanctum. So, and I don't know how I feel about doing that. I'd rather just, draw into them. Maybe it's best for the side deck, I don't know. But what's good about Oasis is this card allows you to special summon a monster from the graveyard. But it changes the typing of that monster to a worm type. So if you have there can only be one on the field, it wouldn't work because the monster that you have summoned is considered as a worm type monster, where everything else would be considered as a machine or psychic type. So it just would work. And especially if you're trying to get rid of there can only be one, I don't know, it just works. And there's so many different ways to counteract that as well. So I don't know, it works very well for the deck. Now going on to the extra deck, there's not too much going on with it. I don't think I've changed too much from last time. Not really, anyway. I run one Infinity with the Nova for your negation effects. It's just really good for that reason. Nova with Infinity. If I can grab them. Constellar Palladius. This one is really good. I actually like this one a lot, and I like going into it. So during either player's turn, you can discard one card, detach one material, and then send one card from your opponent's field to the hand. So it's just, I don't know, it's really good, and it's not hard to get out because it's only a cost level 5. So, and you have plenty of opportunities to get out to level 5s with Slip Rider, Scythe, and even Cosmo Dark Lady. Artifact Dwindle. So this one's again like a easy negation type card. I don't use it as much. It's really good. It pops stuff. It does a lot of things, but I don't use it as much. Mostly because I like Palladius a little bit more. Then one Volcasaurus. This one, again, it pops stuff. It's all negation and popping effects, so it does a lot of things for that. So why I run all these level 5 monsters is because is for Gaia Dragon. So whenever you use up all your materials, you can immediately go into Gaia Dragon to special summon itself and then do piercing damage, which is good. I run one Big Eye, and then one Flare Metal. Nothing really going on there. Then I run a Linkuriboh with Salamangreat with the well, I think it's new. I don't know. The new Salamangreat Link monster. I don't know how new this one actually is, but this one is this one's kind of like Linkuriboh a little bit, but this one requires a normal monster instead of just a level 1. It protects. They both protect cards on the field. And then I run one Wee Witch Apprentice with the Nightmare package with Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn. I almost won with this card. I just didn't have I had a perfect opportunity to win, but I lost by timeout because I had like 100 life points yesterday while I was playing this deck, and I lost by timeout. So I couldn't get my Unicorn out, but it's okay. And Decode Talker. So nothing has really changed with this deck. I've kind of improved it a little bit from what it once was. So it's much. I think it's a little bit better than what it was. Side deck going on. The side deck is a little bit. That's technically a little bit your choice. It doesn't matter what you actually have. My idea was to run Kaiju. If you wanted to go with that, Kaiju's is normally the way to go with this deck. It special summons itself, which on your opponent's turn, also it's really good. It disrupts a lot of things. So I always, if I had to choose something for the side deck, it would probably be it'd probably go with some Kaiju's and a couple negation trap cards. The one that whenever I was playing yesterday, I went to my locals, and there was one deck that really hurt me a lot. Was anti-meta. This deck is not good really against anti-meta, especially if your opponent would to have Fossil Dino on the field. I think that's what's called. I forgot what it's called actually. It's the one that doesn't allow you to special summon monsters. And in this version, you can't get around anything. The only monster that you normal summon is this card, so it's pretty much over for you at that point. But yeah, that's the whole Cosmo deck for right now. I don't know if there's going to be an update for this. I just wanted to show it a more recent version of it. And plus, I love this deck so much. So if you guys have any sort of suggestions on what I should do to maybe improve this, or maybe you help me with the side deck a little bit, tell me what you guys think, that'd be really awesome. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.